or what? Because the game's about to start. They're going to center field. We should go on now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me for the national anthem.
They're doing the anthem. All right, we're at Game of the Week and National Anthem. So, we're live? We are live. Thank you. All right, I'll be checking. Huh? Will do. I'll text you. All right, gotta go call the game. Cool. Thanks. Thank you.
It's right here. I gotta go at this one.
I got blue tape for you if you need it.
Is this near your way?
I got no.
I could put it up here, I guess.
Somebody give me a flag. Somebody, Tony, Eddie, find me a flag. What are they standing for?
Welcome to the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week, produced in cooperation with the U.S. Lacrosse Washington State Chapter, Washington High School Boys Lacrosse Association, and Washington Schoolgirls Lacrosse Association. Folks, welcome. This is the inaugural broadcast for us here on the Lacrosse Network, as I'm being joined right now by Tony Olney, the legendary Tony Olney. My name is Steve Willits, and we will be bringing you tonight's action here from Newport High School, where the Sammamish Newport lacrosse team is about ready to take on the Seattle Prep Panthers. Tony, how are you tonight?
Great. You know, this is a Chamber of Commerce ninth. What would it be? April, May? It's March. Beautiful evening. It's dry. Should be a good game to open up the season this year.
Yeah, no kidding. In March, you never know what you're going to get, and we could not have picked a better night. Not a cloud in the sky. I think the high temperature today in the low 50s, and it's getting a little bit chilly out there, but still a good night for lacrosse, and we should be in for a good game tonight.
Yeah, you know, both teams are going to be really fresh. There's some nervous kids out there. I know that number 4, Murphy for Seattle Prep, he was a JV goalie last year, so I know his eyes are pretty wide when I was down in the field.
And we are getting ready for face-off here. It's going to be Sam Kopf from Seattle Prep. He's wearing number 12. He's the sophomore captain. Scored 27 goals last year for this Panther team. He's going to be facing off against Riley Martin, the junior captain for Sammamish, who had a 9-goal season last year.
Riley Martin on the face-off.
Yeah, you can see everybody. The referees are going through the face-off rules, just reminding the kids to keep their sticks apart, don't move, wait for the whistle.
First game jitters, right? And we are underway here for the 2013 season. Ball is still loose and finally picked up by Seattle Prep.
We got Seattle Prep possession.
Ooh,
And
that's
immediately
tough.
we have an injury. That's number 5 on the floor there. Connor Dennehy, the senior captain, 24 goals last year. He was 4th on the team in scoring, and we're only 31 seconds into this game, and already we've got a player down.
Boy, I'm hoping just on a little chilly night that was just a stick to a kneecap, and he's just in a little bit of pain. You hate to see that anytime, but 15 seconds into the first game of the year, a game that is, it's an exhibition game in all sense and purposes, and when your top stud's going down.
And we've got the coach out there, Rich Schwartz, attending to Connor Dennehy right now, and Connor rolling over onto his back finally, which is a good sign as we await to see exactly what the injury is to the senior captain.
Yeah, it looked pretty innocent. I think just a little chop to the shin or the knee, I'm hoping, for him. It looks like that. The way they're popping him up, I think he just took a chop to the knee.
Should probably point out, too, as you mentioned a minute ago, this is a non-league game. Sammamish, who plays in the Division I, Seattle Prep Division II. Non-league, certainly we could call it a preseason game, but when you're a player out here, you want to win at all times, right?
Right, and you know what you got going here is you got some swing kids that are going to be swinging between JV and varsity, and this might be their one opportunity to show the coach that in a game situation they can play. You know, keep me up in the varsity. Don't send me back down to JV.
Sure, and as you and I talked about earlier as well off the air, these players do need to have 10 practices before they're eligible. Some of these players not able to get those 10 practices in yet just because of the fact that it just started. Some crossover sports may be involved. I know certainly for Seattle Prep, their basketball season ending last Saturday, I'm sure we're missing a couple of their players tonight. As a matter of fact, I can see DJ Fenner, number 18, down there, not suited up to play due to the lack of practices. You're right. There are going to be a lot of players here who are getting action for the possibly the only time this year.
Yep, yeah, at least in the varsity setting.
So Prep with the ball early on here. Sam Koff with the ball, running towards the goal. Swinging the ball over, that's number 17 right now, Perry Stout. Swings to her first shot on goal, that is a miss. It's number 14 taking the shot, George Anderson, the senior who was the team leader last year with 53 goals, also had 7 assists to go along with those goals.
Incredible season, 53 goals. Anytime you're above 40, that's an outstanding season. Above 50, that's astronomical.
So we'll see if George can add on to that total this year and have an even better senior year. Ball is batted away, and we've got our first turnover of the game, perhaps.
That was Ian Nelson at the check.
Got a check call against Sammamish, so Seattle Prep maintaining possession.
Yeah, not unusual. You're going to see a lot of loose ball calls. Andy Asante is the lead referee here, real experienced, done championship games. He's just going to make sure the kids know how they're going to call it this year.
So Prep swinging the ball around right now. It's number 22 holding on to it, Connor Gossman. He's the sophomore. Did get a little time last year as a freshman, scored 4 goals to go along with 1 assist. And Prep taking their time here, trying to set this play up. Coach Olney, what do you expect to see here on this play?
Well, you know, traditionally the Panthers are a midfield dominant team, and they're inverting right now. You can see the situation where the midfielder is going to take it behind the cage and go one-on-one.
And that's Kopp. He does pull up. He throws it over to number 17, Perry Stout. Ball gets loose. And Prep once again coming up with it. That's number 9, Justin Riggins, the senior midfielder. Also one of the captains, had 12 goals and 8 assists last year.
Yeah, I can see the ball going through Sam Koff a lot this year. Captain, leader.
Koff once again behind the goal. Coming around, running up to the crease. He's going to take a shot. He scores! There is our first goal of the season for Sam Koff.
You know, if you look at Sam, he's a young man, just a sophomore. I think last year was just a chance to play the game, and he got a taste for goal scoring with 27, and you can see it there. Again, what they're doing is they're inverting him. They're taking Koff from the top of the net where typically midfielders play, bringing him from behind the cage, which puts a lot of pressure on the defender. The midfielder is usually playing defense with his goalie behind him, not behind the cage.
So again, Kopp last year, only a freshman and scoring 27 goals. Fairly impressive, huh?
Very impressive.
Our second face-off of the game. Ball is loose. And this time we're about to see Sammamish. Possibly, I guess not quite yet. Thought we might see their first possession of the game. However, Seattle Prep coming up with it one more time. That's Elijah Wilgus, the senior. Also saw a little bit of playing time last year with 4 goals and 1 assist. Ball is loose, and what is the call here?
So they're going to call white on a loose ball hold. The ball was down, it was loose, and Sammamish Newport, he was holding them. That's all. Just a change of possession.
So once again, we're early on here in the ball game. Seattle Prep holding on to a 1-0 lead, first quarter of play. Sam Koff was the only goal of the game with the ball. Finally throws it over to Justin Riggins up on top. Connor Gossman swings it over to Perry Stout. Ball is loose. And Sammamish finally coming up with their first possession of the ball game. There's a goaltender, Morgan White, right there. White is a junior and was their primary goaltender last year as he's returning for another year. Loose ball finally picked up by number 16. That's Sean Strindberg, the senior captain for Sammamish, who led the team with 29 goals last season.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of attention. You already saw it from Seattle Prep. They're going to double team him early.
Yeah, looking at the stats last year, it was a fairly balanced between three guys scoring most of the goals. Number 16, Sean Sternberg, 21, Cooper Horton, who's also back this year as a junior, and then Tyler Wright, who had 28 goals and 18 assists last year, was the team leader in points. No longer there. That's Jack Murphy with the save, the junior. Murphy new to the goal this year as the two players who got the primary time last year for Seattle Prep have both graduated and moved on. Riley Stout, who had the most minutes last year in goal and played 665 minutes, no longer there. And Jack Murphy making his presence known here in the new season and doing a nice job there thus far.
Yeah, I was watching Jack warm up before the game. He's got real quick hands, looked a little tentative. I'm sure he's still nervous, but it's nice getting that first save out of the way early.
Sean Sternberg with the ball right now. Looking to drive there. He finally dishes off to number 25. Nice shot. However, Jack Murphy there for the stop. That was Stuart Sutherland, the sophomore, who had 10 goals and 3 assists last year. So certainly playing varsity ball is not something new to Stuart Sutherland. Takes his first shot of the season, and Jack Murphy with a nice save.
Yeah, you might see Sternberg do a lot of that today. If they're going to double that early, he's going to have to be a feeder today and get it to his midfielders for those step-down shots.
Sternberg swinging the ball around here right now. It's number 10 with a shot. It's Michael Calaboso, junior midfielder.
Michael Calaboso.
Jack Murphy doing a nice job here so far. And once again, there's Sternberg. You mentioned he's going to get a lot of attention, and he does. Finally swings it over to number 22, Yannick White. Sammamish looking for something here. They've got the ball over to Ricky Adams, junior attacker.
Mike, where are you?
Ball gets loose there. However, John Montine, the senior attacker, gets the ball.
Where's Mike?
Anything surprising you here so far, Coach, in terms of the way they're setting up the offense? Or
No, and I was talking to Coach Lee earlier on in the week, and he's talking about he's trying to bring a culture to a Sammamish Newport that he had when he was coaching at Mercer Island, and that is to play hard, to play fast all the time. You practice hard, and you play hard. You play fast. You practice fast. And just a cultural change for this Sammamish Newport team. And I can see it on the offense. They're really moving the ball well.
And we had some good looks, just haven't quite been able to put it in yet. And here they come, getting the ball back around. There's another shot, another stop by Murphy. Seattle Prep ball.
What I like about Murphy's save there was that was just a good fundamental save. He held the pipe, he stayed on the pipe, and let the attacker hit him.
Willius running into the box, brings it up. Gets the ball over to Joe Chamberlain, a freshman, getting some playing time right now. Should mention that Seattle Prep coming off a 13-2 season. We've got Laundry on the field there as we await the call.
Yeah, we got a slash. That'll be a 1-minute penalty.
Should take this time to mention that one of our sponsors tonight, Wrecking Ball Demolition. Wrecking Ball Demolition is a proud sponsor of the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week. Wrecking Ball Demolition offers full building demolitions, neater, cleaner, faster. Wrecking Ball Demolition, demolition with a difference. To learn more, visit wreckingballdemolition.com or call 425-339-3111.
So that 1 minute penalty in Anderegg for Sammamish Newport. A slash call, so now you see Seattle Prep will be up a man. Much like in hockey, it's a man-up situation for 1 minute.
Prep swinging the ball around here as they're still trying to take advantage of that situation. Their ball goes out of bounds, and we'll wait to see what kind of a play they can draw up here as the minute winds down to an end. Sam Kopp with the ball again. The solo goal here thus far. Seattle Prep with an early 1-0 lead here in the first quarter of play. Number 22 coming around from behind. Nice save there. That's number 8. We mentioned it earlier, Morgan White. Started all of 14 games last year. Sammamish coming down to the other end. That's number 15 with the ball. Ian Weiss, the sophomore captain. And Seattle Prep with it on the run once again as they come back into the attack.
Real nice ride by Seattle Prep. That's his hustle. They just out-hustled him.
Justin Riggins setting things up here for Prep.
So in lacrosse, you can see how fast the penalties go. We're back to even up again.
We've got Riggins setting things up right now. Getting a little bit of a running start there. Puts a nice move on number 10. That's Michael Calaboso. Riggins still holding onto the ball. Finally passes it off to number 14. He shoots. That was George Anderson taking another shot. Again, still looking for his first goal of the season. Joe Chamberlain, the freshman, with the ball. Throwing it back to George Anderson. Bart Schaefer, the junior, number 13, coming into the game now and holding on to possession of the ball. And coach, in a game like this, are you what exactly is the strategy for a coach? It's your first game of the year. It's a non-conference game. Are you trying to work out some of the kinks early on? Are you concerned about showing your hand too much? What, from a coach's standpoint, what are you thinking about as you're out there playing right now?
I'm not going to show anybody anything. I'm going to play everybody. I want everybody to touch the ball. You get kind of tired of going against each other for 2 weeks. Just nice to play somebody different and see what works, so you can step up and play.
Whistle on the play.
Looks like they called an illegal screen. Much like basketball, you got to hold still in your screens. You can't lean into guys, grab guys.
And down to the other end comes Sammamish. That's Riley Martin. Getting checked by Perry Stout, the senior. Nice play by Stout. We do have Laundry on the field once again.
Yeah, we're going to get a push on Stout. He playing good defense there. And he's a senior, should know better. You just can't keep continually hammering a guy's back. You can play the front side of him, but you just can't keep pushing him in the back like that. That'll be 30 seconds. Oh, they're going to call a cross-check for a minute.
Give him a minute. Yeah, there we go. So Sammamish for the first time tonight will have the advantage.
Well, now, and we're playing with a disadvantage when they don't have the time on the scoreboard. Kind of hard to tell, but I think I heard him say there's a minute left in the quarter, so we'll see how much offense they get to run here.
Sammamish swinging the ball around here right now. As again, we think we're under a minute to go here in the first quarter of play. Power play opportunity here for Sammamish Newport. Got a shot on goal. That was number 15, Ian Weiss. Goes a little bit to the left. Sammamish maintaining possession here. Let's play there. Martin finally takes the ball, throws it over to 25. He shoots and scores. Stuart Sutherland, the sophomore, as we mentioned earlier, with 10 goals and 3 assists last season, scores his first goal of the game, and we have a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, that was just a really well-run play by Sammamish. They were playing a 3-3. Everybody in front of the cage. You're really taking advantage of your extra man there. Simple pass and gun. Nice to have a left-handed gun on your team.
twice on the face-off, Sammamish.
So we await the face-off here again. 1-1 tie. Sammamish Newport versus Seattle Prep. Once again, you are watching the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week, the inaugural Game of the Week. Ball is picked up by Seattle Prep.
Push on blue, white ball, possession Sammamish.
So that was a push on blue against Seattle Prep. Sammamish ball. And we are in the first quarter of play here. We are live tonight from Newport High School in Bellevue, Washington. Our inaugural matchup between Sammamish Newport and Seattle Prep. Prep with the ball. Here they come. That's number 12, Sam Kopp, coming down the field. Nice pass over to Justin Riggins. Throws it over. We had a shot from Perry Stout. Flies wide. However, Prep will maintain the ball. Connor Gossman with it. Finally passes off to number 14. That's George Anderson once again. Anderson losing the ball. Sammamish coming up with the possession. So again, Perry Stout playing tough defense there. And there's the horn. We have come to the end of the first quarter of play with your score. Sammamish Newport 1, Seattle Prep 1. The Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week is produced in cooperation with the U.S. Lacrosse Washington State Chapter, Washington High School Boys Lacrosse Association, and the Washington Schoolgirls Lacrosse Association. Production services provided by the Mount Lake Terrace High School Hawks Broadcasting Network. Special thanks to Mike McQuaid, Seattle Sports Information Director of the U.S. Lacrosse Washington State Chapter. Newport High School Athletic Director James Gill, and tonight's coaches Ian Lee from Newport and Rick Schwartz from Seattle Prep.
Thank you for attending this inaugural season for the Sammamish Lacrosse 2013. We wouldn't be able to do it without the help of our following sponsors. Custom Rating.
Tony, I also want to mention real quick that we invite our folks out there to advertise your business on the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week. Game of the Week broadcasts feature some of the best high school lacrosse matchups in Washington State and are streamed live online to anyone with an internet connection. Reach thousands of dedicated Washington Prep lacrosse fans with your advertising message and support high school lacrosse. To learn more, call Teresa at 425-772-3056.
You know, I'd say that appeal goes out to any team in this league. If you want your game to be on TV, you want it streamed so Grandma in Poughkeepsie can watch the game, then you got to step up a little bit and help us out.
Absolutely. And this is a great feature, too. And it's something we've been doing here on our end for football and basketball. And to really help the sport grow throughout the state and throughout the region, what better way to do it, right? I mean, this has got to be a nice thrill for the kids that are going to get a chance to play here this year. And like you mentioned, and we've had a lot of feedback through various other high school games to have, you know, your aunt or your uncle or grandparents be able to watch the game if they're not able to make it out here. It's a huge bonus and something you and I, when we were kids, we never had that opportunity.
No, not at all. And you just think about lacrosse. The only lacrosse games you saw when I was coming up were the two semifinal NCAA men's game and the final, and that was it. And we used to watch those late at night. Now they show all the games, watch high school games. You can watch high school games on this network or the Lacrosse Network from all over the nation.
And we are about ready to start the second period of play here again. Score still tied 1-1 between Sammamish Newport, a Division I school that had a record of 8 wins and 7 losses last year, and Seattle Prep, a Division II school that went 13-2 last year, losing to Garfield in the semifinals. Its possession to Seattle Prep is number 9, Justin Riggins, coming down the field. Throwing the ball over to Elijah Wilgus, shoots and scores.
A nice little goal by Elijah. What you're going to see is a good shooter is a shooter that's going to bounce the ball. I like seeing that. He put the ball on the ground, put it up in the top corner. Tough shot for a goaltender to save because he's looking at the ball. He wants it to come high. He wants to catch it with his stick. When he's got to bring it down to the ground, you got a good chance to bounce it up over his shoulder.
So Prep once again taking a lead 2-1. Had teams exchanging goals here thus far. Prep scoring the first one. Sammamish then coming down to tie it, and Prep going back in the lead now, 2-1 here early in the second quarter of play. Scramble for the ball. Sam Kopf coming up with it. Here comes Seattle Prep once again. Shot on goal. That's number 14, George Anderson.
Shot by George Anderson, backed up by Morgan White.
Morgan White backing that one up. Closest to the ball, takes possession.
That's right, Steve. You always see that big scramble on a shot. Whoever's closest to the ball, where it goes out of bounds, gets to keep it.
And certainly for a lot of the folks who are newer to lacrosse, that's a huge difference from some of the other sports they're used to seeing, where it's normally the last player to touch a ball. And
that's one of the reasons a lead's never safe in lacrosse. It's a make-it-take-it sport.
Sure.
You can continue to keep pumping them in.
We have offsides. Seattle Prep ball.
You got an offside call. Real simple. You got to keep 4 guys in your defensive end, 3 in your offensive end. Doesn't matter who. You got to count the house.
And in that case, Sammamish falling a little bit short there, and consequently, here comes Prep with the ball. Should mention that from Spokane to Seattle and Linden to Camas, high school lacrosse is the fastest growing sport in Washington State. Now in its 4th decade of play, 4,000 student athletes attending 200 schools in Washington State will play high school lacrosse this season. To learn more about high school lacrosse in Washington State, visit WashingtonHSLAX.com. Once again, that's WashingtonHSLAX.com. High school lacrosse, get in the game. And our first timeout taking place here in the second quarter by Seattle Prep, holding on to a 2-1 lead. Rich Schwartz electing to call a timeout here. Do you see any?
Well, I'm just impressed with the scrappiness of Seattle Prep. They're coming up with most of the ground balls. They're being patient on offense. And when you're playing a D2 team playing a D1 team, if you look at it this way, there really isn't a considerable amount of difference between D1 and D2 other than the feeder pattern. When you're a D1 team, you've got a whole program set up with lots of individual schools feeding into your high school program, where Seattle Prep draws kids from all over the place. They don't have a feeder program, so that's why they're classified Division II. Doesn't mean that they don't necessarily get as good as athletes or as good as players. It's just the way the feeder pattern's set up.
Sure, and we actually saw that last year, too. Looking through Sammamish's schedule from last season, they had one game against a Division II school, was up in Skagit Valley, and beat them pretty good. So Division II versus Division I doesn't necessarily mean that one school's going to beat the other, correct?
Yeah, that's true. Now, your elites of Division I, they are the elites. Your Bellevue, Mercer Island, Issaquah, and Eastside Catholics now stepping up. They're definitely the elites of Division I. They handle people from all over the nation. Last year, Bellevue goes last year. They go to the Farmington area against the top teams in New York, and they go 4-0. So we out here, our top teams can play with anybody in the nation.
Speaking of which, since we're talking about some of the elite teams, what do you foresee for the Division I and the Division II levels this year? Who are some of the teams to beat, and who should we be keeping an eye on moving forward?
Well, D1 is Bellevue. I mean, they wear the crown. I was shocked that they actually lost 2 games last year. I figured they would run the table. They lost a lot of kids, but when you programs like Bellevue, Mercer Island, Issaquah, you lose kids, but all you really do is reload. You got so many in the pipeline that they step up. And if you look at Bellevue, they've got 3 legitimate Division I athletes on that team. They're highly recruited Division I athletes. They're the team to beat.
Sure. And Division II?
Division II, I'm not too sure. We got some real up-and-coming teams. Division II teams just explode out of nowhere. It's a big league now. Division II goes from Spokane to, like you said, to Camas, Port Angeles. You never know in Division II. All of a sudden, some sleeper team's huge.
Sure. And I should mention to folks, too, if they want to tweet into to us tonight, since we do have a very knowledgeable gentleman up here doing color commentator with me. If you want to have any questions for Coach Olney, the Hall of Famer, I might add, go ahead and tweet me at Steve Willits. It's STEVEWILLITS. Be happy to field any questions you might have during the broadcast tonight. And again, Tony, you're a pioneer of this sport in this region, certainly, having played it and coached it and started a few programs yourself, a couple state championships to go along with that, and appreciate you being up here tonight. Nice move there. Shoots and scores. That's Justin Riggins scoring his first goal of the season. Making the score now. Seattle Prep 3, Sammamish 1.
Hey, Riggins set up his defender excellently there. He took him a little bit wide of the crease, and what you want to do is be able to roll back and give yourself some room. He was able to roll back with room. And then when you spin, all of a sudden you're one-on-one with the goalie. The cage looks pretty big right there. The goalie didn't have a chance on that shot. I'm impressed with Seattle Prep. Very impressed with their patience, very impressed with their shot selection.
Possession, Seattle Prep.
Seattle Prep once again with possession here, holding on to that 3-1 lead. We are in the second quarter of play. Riggins swinging it over to number 22. That's Connor Gossman. Getting the ball over to Perry Stout, senior midfielder. Again, Perry with 13 goals and 6 assists during his junior year in 2012. George Anderson, the 53-goal scorer from last season. Still waiting to see if he's going to get on the board here shortly. Throwing the ball up on top. That's Sam Kopf once again. Kopf looking for a screen. Finally gets over to 17, Perry Stout. Stout takes a shot towards the goal. He shoots. He scores. Perry Stout making it happen on his own there, Coach.
Yeah, he's an unorthodox-looking kid. That stick is waving everywhere, but he's got a very strong cradle. Wow, you got to put him on the ground. I think there, you just quit waving at his stick, and we just got to put a body on him and get him on the ground. He's got 2 goals already.
Yeah, we might see him on the ground next time if they keep playing like that. I think they're learning very quickly who he is.
I'm noticing that Connor Dennehy for Seattle Prep, he's still on the sideline. He's standing up talking, chit-chatting, but I don't know if Coach is going to let him back in the game.
Yeah, again, if you're just tuning in, Connor Dennehy really going down hard on the turf there, about 15 seconds into the action tonight. And as you mentioned earlier, this is a first game of the year. It's a non-league game. You definitely want to win the game, but at the same time, you don't want to risk a player getting injured this early in the season if he's got some issues there.
Yeah, when in doubt, sit him out.
So Sammamish with the ball, trying to overcome a 3-goal deficit right now, 4-1. Sammamish swinging the ball around right now. That's number 6 with it. John Montine throws it up on top again. That's Riley Martin. Mentioned a few times, the junior midfielder, captain of the team. Martin takes a shot. Nice block there. That was Jack Murphy once again. Murphy finally coming up with the ball. And here comes Prep one more time as Perry Stout. Nice play there by Stout. He's still going. Stout takes a shot. Wide left.
Possession, Sammamish.
Stout's a stout kid, man. I hate to use that pun, but holy cow, he ran over 3 guys.
In this case, the pun works, though, right? That was impressive.
Yeah.
And Stout actually got injured on that play as he runs over to the sideline here and trying to see what it is that's ailing him, but he's going to take a knee real quick here. And, of course, with a couple of tough hits like that, I can see where he might have felt that one a bit. Sammamish down on their end once again. Inside the box, they're on the attack here. That's Sternberg once again. Sternberg going through a few guys. Finally pulls back out. Throws it behind the goal. That's number 5, Ricky Adams. Swinging it around to Montine. Ian Weiss with the ball. Getting it back over to Sternberg once again. Ball gets away from number 15. That was Weiss. Weiss does finally get it back. Sammamish loses it again. That's number 12. Sam Kopf with it once again. Prep has numbers. Here they go. Taking a shot right inside the crease. That's number 9. Justin Riggins shoots and scores. And that is a Seattle Prep 5-1 lead here in the second quarter of play.
Timeout, Sammamish.
And see, that was a classic 4-on-3 fast break in lacrosse. The first day of practice, you're going to practice a 4-on-3 transition play where you pick the ball up in the midfield area, and you saw Kopf did a great job being patient. His job is to take it down until he gets stopped. Once he gets stopped, he's going to dump it off to his point man, the guy on top. He dumps it down to the attacker on that play for an easy layup goal. That was textbook.
Just how you coach it up right there. Mention once again that Wrecking Ball Demolition is a proud sponsor of the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week. Wrecking Ball Demolition offers full building demolitions, neater, cleaner, faster. Wrecking Ball Demolition, demolition with a difference. To learn more, visit wreckingball.demolition.com or call 425-339-3111. Think Fit. Sticks to Schools is the youth fitness program of the Washington Stealth. With Sticks to Schools, Stealth players encourage fitness and healthy lifestyles by introducing lacrosse to your school or youth group. To bring Sticks to Schools to your school or youth group, or learn how your business can support this initiative program, visit stickstoschools.com. That's sticks, the number 2, schools.com. And we certainly appreciate the Washington Stealth for that. Stealth having a nice year thus far, rebounding from a rough 2012.
Yeah, I think they're tied for first place now. And, you know, Coach Hall, he's a legend in the Pacific Northwest, played for the Victoria Sea Sprays for a year, a couple world teams. He's an outstanding coach. Spoke at our Hall of Fame dinner a few years ago. Wonderful man. You know, he's a great leader. The guys are going to want to play for him. And you see that. Good
to see him healthy as well, as I know he had a little illness last year that kept him out part of the season. And
yeah, lost a great way to lose weight. He looks, last time I saw him, he looked great.
Yeah, probably not what he was going for initially, but hey, it works, right? So
he's got a good sense of humor and a really good attitude going into that, and he came out pretty good.
Definitely. So we like seeing him there in the back on the sideline there for the Stealth. And
yeah, you know, Coach Hall will get on you too. And I'm looking down right now, Coach Lee. He's getting on his Sammamish kids. Yeah, this might be a D1, D2 exhibition game, and I'll put that in quotes. But he's getting on his kids. They're just getting out and out played right now. They're getting played.
So let's see if Coach Lee's stern lecture there does any good. Has Sammamish coming back on the field here again, trailing 5-1 into the second quarter of play. Official score time being kept on the field. Presumably we're about midway through the second quarter here.
Riley Martin and Sam Kopf on the face-off.
Riley Martin and Sam Kopf once again to face off amongst one another, against one another. Again, we are coming to you live from Newport High School in Bellevue, Washington. You're watching the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week. Sammamish coming up with a ball. We do see a flag down on the field.
Yeah, we're going to have a 1-minute slash. Yeah, that was on Sam Kopf. He was coming down on the chop on that loose ball, and he caught some helmet. I heard it clear up here. Yeah, and you're probably going to see a lot more of that with the concussions issues and everything else. U.S. Lacrosse, High School Lacrosse, National Federation, they're going to really protect the head now. Just like football, it's all going that way. Stay away from the head or you're going to be in the penalty box like Kopf is right now.
And as somebody who's played the sport really since its inception in this area, you have got to like to see that as well, right? I mean, as a longtime coach, and it's nice to see that we're trying to take care of these young men. It's a violent game, and we want it to be a physical game, but at the same time, we want it to be safe.
Yeah, and I got my bell rung a lot playing football and lacrosse. So
sure.
So whenever I make a mistake, that's my excuse.
So Sammamish with the ball here once again. They're on a power play, swinging the ball around. That's number 25, Stuart Sutherland. Ball gets loose. And Seattle Prep coming up with it here. It appears to be number 22, Connor Gossman with the ball as he's on the far side of the field from us. Throws it over to number 21. That's Joe Chamberlain, the freshman. Chamberlain coming around the goal, and what call do we have here?
Yeah, illegal screen again. You just moved a little bit. You got to be real still on those screens. Boy, I'd really like to see Sammamish to settle down here. That's a wasted man-up opportunity there when you just throw the ball away. You know, a perfect opportunity to get a goal back in this game.
And Riley Martin with the ball coming down here, throws it over to number 25. Stuart Sutherland. And Sam Kopf coming back onto the field of play as the power play is over. Sammamish setting themselves up here right now. That's Sutherland once again. Has the lone goal of the night for Sammamish Newport. So they still trail 5-1. Sternberg with the ball, floats it over to number 6. That was John Montine. Sammamish being very patient here as they're working it around. Sternberg looking for something there, can't quite find it. Ball gets away.
We got a legal push on blue.
Illegal push on Seattle Prep. Sammamish with the ball once again. Nice shot, however. Another stop, Jack Murphy. Floats the ball over the head of number 12. That was Sam Koff. Scramble for the ball. They're going to say Seattle Prep ball still.
You know, I watched Jack Murphy again. I watched him warm up, and a little bit unorthodox, a little scared, but he's making the saves.
Another timeout for Seattle Prep.
So, you know, I want to talk about Murphy. You know, you got a young goaltender here, only played JV, seeing some varsity shots now, and I'm impressed. I think I don't think he knows enough to be scared right now. He's just making saves, and you know, he's not the prettiest looking goalie out there, but I don't care if he makes saves. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, and if you're a junior goalkeeper, your first game as a starter at the varsity level, confidence is a big thing, right? And we talked about it earlier. Again, non-division game tonight, but at the same time, these games do mean something psychologically to these players. And if Murphy goes out here and can show that he can play at this level, that's got to do wonders for him going forward as well.
Sure, and you know the thing about a goaltender, it's an all-confidence game. You know, goaltenders, you know, what did Yogi Berra said something about, you know, 90% of the game is 80% mental or something. But when we get right down to it for a goaltender is, you got to treat your goaltender well. You got to keep his confidence up. And when I coached, you know, the goaltender was the first kid on the bus, the first kid off the bus. You know, if you're willing to play goalie, you get privileges.
Sure, and that makes sense. And again, Murphy having one heck of a game here thus far. Hey, once again, we invite you to advertise your business on the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week. Game of the Week broadcasts feature some of the best high school lacrosse matchups in Washington State and are streamed live online to anyone with an internet connection. Reach thousands of dedicated Washington Prep lacrosse fans with your advertising message and support high school lacrosse. To learn more, call Teresa at 425-772-3056. Want to remind you also to subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on YouTube tonight. If you're watching this game with us, you are already on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to check out some of the other things that are going on the Lacrosse Network. Plenty of professional as well as collegiate lacrosse on there as well. I know the game of the week coming up this week. I believe Chapman is going to be playing in that game against Cal Poly. So you'll be able to see that game as well as the NLL game of the week, Colorado at Buffalo, 4:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific on Saturday, March 9th.
Yeah, that Chapman-Cal Poly game, that's, you know, the MCLA, the Men's Collegiate Club Lacrosse, is a great opportunity for lots of kids in our league to play at the college level.
And getting bigger all the time, right? It's certainly something that's catching on around the West Coast, I should say.
Well, and particularly, you got kids on the West Coast. Who wants to go shovel snow in Maine and play for a D3 program? Let's go down to Claremont or something and play in the sunshine in February.
Sure. I was watching, I believe it was a Loyola Marymount game the other day, and they were wearing bathing suits and using the slip and slide. So they were having a pretty good time down there, and can't blame them if they want to go down there and catch a little sunshine and play lacrosse while they're at it.
Yeah, that's a great recruiting tool, the sun.
Yeah, indeed. Does not hurt. That's number 8 with a shot. That was Elijah Wilgus looking for his second goal. Nice save by Morgan White that time. Sammamish coming up with the ball and still looking for that second goal of the game as they continue to trail Seattle Prep 5-1 here in the second quarter. Ian Weiss throwing the ball over to Ricky Adams. It's number 16, Sternberg, with the ball behind the goal. As we mentioned earlier, 29 goals on the season last year. Led the team in goals, was second in points with 43. Number 1 in points as a returning player, I should mention. It's number 15 with a shot, Ian Weiss. Sophomore can't get that one to go. Sammamish does maintain possession on the. They're still on the attack here as Weiss gets the ball back behind the goal to Sternberg once again. Sternberg being guarded by number 2, Josh Campbell, senior defensive player and also one of the team captains.
And he's preseason all second team all league Division II defender, so he's drawn the tough matchup tonight.
And playing well there too, and showing why he's one of the premier players.
Yeah, I'm just impressed with Seattle Prep's patience on defense. You saw that again. Sammamish, Newport keeps throwing the ball away because they're playing nice, patient defense, and the kids, they trust their goalie.
Now, if you're Sammamish here, what have you seen in the second quarter? Maybe a little bit different from the first quarter. Is some of it starting to kind of kick in a little bit, or there's still? What do we need to work on here other than the passing game for them to get going here in this game and to have a chance to win?
Well, you just got to get Sternberg going. That's it. I mean, you're going to run your offense through him. You got to get him going. He's blanked right now. No goals, no assists.
It's George Anderson with the ball. Speaking of a player who has yet to see a goal, Anderson, who we mentioned earlier with 53 goals on the year last year. Sam Koff holding the ball up on top. Getting checked by number 10, that's Calaboso. Koff finally passing it off to Anderson, gets away from him, goes out of bounds. Sammamish ball.
Yeah, nice job by Sammamish. Just being patient again. You know, they're just you be patient. The team's going to throw the ball away, especially this early in the year. Got a lot of rust on everybody's stick.
It's Weiss with the ball right now. Coming over the midfield line. Gets it into the box. Ricky Adams once again getting it over to Sternberg, and as you mentioned, they need to get him going at some point here.
Yeah, I'm just impressed with Campbell's job on him. He's really shut him down. He's getting some help, early slides, but he's doing a fine job.
Once again, the ball gets away, however, this time Sammamish able to come up with it. That's Adams looking as though he might go to Sternberg there for a moment. So that's Montine. It's 6, not 5. Finally kicks it back up on top to Weiss. Tries to get the ball over to Sternberg, gets away from him. Seattle prep ball.
You know, I can see what Coach Lee's trying to do in his offense, and you know, he comes out of a Mercer Island program. He's coached at Seattle Prep. He knows how the game should be coached. It's just a matter of his kids building their confidence up, you know, building their stick skills there. That's a pass and a catch that should be completed.
Now, as a coach, you always want your players to be playing at their best. Is it common to see a lot of sloppy play in the first game of the year? At this point, after 10 practices, what are realistic expectations, and what do you normally see at this level?
Well, you know, you're going to have mistakes, but what I want to see is I want to see kids in the right place at the right time, and I want to see their lacrosse IQ. You know, they understand how to play the game, what the situation is, and where they should be, what they should be doing. Like there, that's not a high lacrosse IQ play right there, stuffing it into the middle. Right? So we can coach that.
As though on cue, they give you an example there. Perfect. Missed shot, and Sammamish now coming across the midfield stripe. Do have a flag down there on the field as we wait to see what the call was.
That's going to be offsides. Oh, no. Slash. Ooh.
Apparently that's going to be on Joe Chamberlain, the freshman, number 21.
As a coach, the one thing you don't want to see is your attackman slash somebody. He's 55 yards away from the goal, and he's slashing somebody. Oh, you don't like to see that.
And the freshman, he'll learn that, right? Or you hope as the coach anyway.
Well, I see Coach Schwartz right over there, right next to him. You know, he'll straighten that out right now.
Hey, youngster, if you're going to do it when you're up by 4 in the non-league game, and get it out of your system now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, if you're just joining us, this is our inaugural Washington High School Game of the Week, being brought to you on the Lacrosse Network. Second quarter of play, Seattle Prep holding on to a 5-1 lead over Sammamish Newport. Sammamish Newport wearing the home white. 25 taking a shot. That's Stuart Sutherland getting blocked by guess who? Jack Murphy. And we've come to the end of the first half of play.
Real interesting right there. First of all, Murphy's confidence is way up. Secondly, Murphy had possession of the ball at the end of the half. That means that Seattle Prep gets to maintain possession in the third quarter. No face-off.
So players are, looks as though Sammamish Newport going to head on over to our right. Trying to regroup, trying to figure out what they need to do to get this game a little bit closer here in the second half, and trying to see what kind of offense they can generate. As they're, since scoring early on in the game, really haven't had too many opportunities at goals here thus far.
Yeah, I think Coach Lee can take a couple different philosophies. One is, let's just call it, first game of the year, and let's just run our offense and continue doing what we're doing. Or I think that Newport, or Sammamish Newport's got a few more athletes. They maybe should push the ball a little. Let's just clear the ball. Let's take it one-on-one. Let's see if we can't get a couple goals. Then if we need to work on a few things, that's fine. But I'd like to see our kids get back in this game, show some resiliency.
Let's talk about the coaches here a little bit, too. There is a connection between these two schools, correct?
Right. Coach Lee he coached the seniors now at Seattle Prep when they were freshmen. So I think that's part of the reason they set this game up. I think the coaches have a good relationship, and these are one of the games that you schedule off the league schedule. You get your league schedule of league games, and then as coaches you got some latitude to fill out the rest of your schedule. You can play a maximum of 20 games in a season. So if you look at Sammamish Newport, they're going to go down to Portland over spring break and play 3 games to round out that 20. I think Seattle Prep on their schedule, they got a few teams coming in from Idaho that they're going to play to round up to about 20 games for the year.
Now, when you were a coach, what was your philosophy? Did you like trying to take those players on road trips? Were you trying to find the toughest opponents to play as possible? Or I know some coaches maybe like to schedule a little bit easier, maybe, and perhaps maybe it depends on the team you have that year as well. What was your philosophy when you were scheduling those non-conference games?
Love to take an overnight because it's a good team bonding. Mm-hmm. Take a weekend. We travel down to Portland and you play a game on Friday night. You play a game on Saturday. Nice team building for the kids. It's good to get away. Get away from their parents. And try to keep them out of trouble. Make sure you got some good chaperones with you.
No, definitely. That's always a plus, right?
Yeah.
So what has your assessment been on prep so far? I know we've talked about Sammamish and maybe what they need to do. So far, what are you seeing that you like about prep, and what do you think maybe they're going to try to work on in the second half before they head into league play next week? Well,
you look at Seattle Prep, 13-2 last year. Of course they lost some kids, but boy, they're a well-coached crew, and I'm impressed with their patience. Overall, you think about it, they're got a 5-3 advantage on faceoff. 2 of Sammamish Newport's faceoff victories were on a technical foul, so they really only won 1 clean. So they're controlling the faceoff, controlling ground balls. They're playing scrappy, and the bottom line is they're making Sammamish Newport throw the ball away.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to mention once again that this is our inaugural year. We are just getting started. If you'd like to advertise your business on the Lacrosse Network for the Washington High School Game of the Week, call Teresa at 425-772-3056. Game of the Week broadcasts feature some of the best high school lacrosse matchups in Washington State and are streamed live online to anyone with an internet connection. Reach thousands of dedicated Washington Prep lacrosse fans with your advertising message and support high school lacrosse. To learn more, call Teresa once again at 425-772-3056. And we have got a whole slew of games coming up for you this year. We're going to try to broadcast, or we will be broadcasting one every week, starting this week and all the way into the playoffs and championship games as well. As exciting to kind of showcase some of the various schools from out the area as well. Just not just a certain segment of schools or certain divisions. We're going to try to get a little bit of everybody in here.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Schwartz before the game, and we were just comparing. Seattle Prep won the state Division II championship in 2002, and I coached against them, and we're just kind of comparing what it was like just even 10 years ago. And he said even 5 years ago, the level of play over the last couple of years is astronomical. All the kids are coming in now through middle school programs, pee-wee programs. They all know how to play. He says, everybody on my team can throw and catch. When you think 10 years ago, you'd be happy to have 10 or 12 kids that were pretty confident with their 6 skills, and then the other 12, you just try to improve their skills for the season. Well, this is not acceptable anymore. When you come out, you better be able to play, period.
And what do you attribute some of the growth to? I mean, again, it's a sport that's slowly been growing over time, and then it just seems like there's been a real surge in the last few years. Where does that come from exactly?
Well, I think you're seeing now is you're seeing lots of second and third generation lacrosse players now. So when the game really started out here in about 1975, some Boeing guys got together, and they had come from the East Coast and they started lacrosse, and then the high school league started at Lakeside around the late 70s. Well, if you look at it now, I was just down on the field before a game, and one of the Sammamish coaches, Ted Moriarty, I played with him in high school. I played with him in post-collegiate play, and now he's got kids playing, and I got my daughters are playing. I run into guys all the time. So what you're getting is your second, third generation player that now is born with a stick in their hand.
Sure.
And that's where they get their good skills.
And it's not just an East Coast / Canadian sport anymore, is it? It's certainly shown that we've got some good lacrosse up here in this part of the country.
Well, and if you look at the growth, on the national level, the growth is in the West. Mm-hmm. That's where the growth of the game is. And if you look at the NCAA level, Division I kids coming from Washington, Oregon, Arizona, Colorado, they're playing. Mm-hmm. They're just not on rosters. They're playing. We got, Landon Carves, significant playing time for Maryland. They came out here at the Seatown Classic in September. He's a senior on the team this year, a championship caliber team. They were in the championship game last year, getting lots of playing time. So, we're turning out good Division I athletes, Division III, MCLA athletes. The men's collegiate lacrosse is incredible. High caliber. When I played, to be honest with you, it was a beer league. It's not that way anymore. They're in school, they're getting good grades, and they're playing a real high level of lacrosse to the point where, like I mentioned before, kids in the West are not going to play Division III lacrosse in the East. They're going to stay and play in California, Arizona. They'll play men's collegiate club lacrosse where the weather's nicer.
Sure. And it is a lot of fun. I know I'm at a lot of the Washington Stealth games, and to see the kids wearing their jerseys at the games nowadays, and to see the names on the jerseys, it's schools from all over. It's not just a particular segment around here either. It's everyone in the Pacific Northwest that's kind of starting to pick it up. Whereas I think when I was in high school 20-something years ago, it was certain sectors of the state or of the region that were playing it. It's no longer that way.
No, we're everywhere, and like I kind of joked. I mean, my favorite mascot in the state of Washington is the paper makers of Camas. Well, no one would imagine that Camas would have a lacrosse team. Who would imagine that San Juan High School has a lacrosse team? Port Angeles has a lacrosse team. The Spokane schools this year coming into our league. That's so important. And if we're going to make that pitch to the WIAA wants you to be everywhere, and lacrosse is everywhere now. Tri-Cities. Anywhere you go, you can find a goal. You can find some kids throwing.
Sure.
And that's part of the growth too. Is that kids are going to look at that where they've never seen lacrosse before, and they say, "That's cool. I'd like to give that a try." And once they give it a try, they're hooked.
Yeah, and again, continued growth, and it's nice to see those numbers increasing every single year, and hopefully it's soon to be a sport that we'll see in every high school. And
phenomenal growth. 59 teams this year, 59 boys teams. I think 40 girls teams. That's another issue to say, Title IX, you got to have boys and girls. Well, we have almost as many girls teams at the high school level as we have boys teams now. So that Title IX is not an issue.
Yeah, and that discrepancy gets smaller every year, it seems. Well, Coach, looking ahead to the second half here, I wanted to ask you as well, first game of the year, is conditioning an issue? Is that something you have to kind of keep an eye on for these guys, being that they've only been practicing now for the most part 10 practices or barely over 10 practices? Is this something when you're in the early stage of the season, do you have to kind of watch that a little bit as the game goes on in the second half?
You want to play a deeper bench. These kids are in shape now. Again, like I said, just walking down on the field, you look at these kids, they're big, they're healthy, they're in shape. I think they're fine, but what you don't want to see is, you see Dennehy go down with a little ding. I think he's fine. He's warming up, but the coach is going to be cautious. You don't want anybody to pull a hamstring, cold night. Want everybody to play, everybody to stay warm, everybody to get some touches. So you're going to play your whole bench.
And we should point out, as I'm watching here, Dennehy, again, walking a little gingerly, but he does appear to be okay. And certainly that was something we did not want to see 15 seconds into the game. And good to see that young man up and moving around a little bit here. And as you mentioned, it wouldn't shock me either if he does not play again tonight. But hopefully moving forward, he's okay. And he's ready to go as we move into to league play here next week. Yeah,
cold night and a titanium shaft to the kneecap or the shin doesn't feel too good. So, I think it's people come to me all the time and say, I saw a lacrosse game. It's so brutal. It's so horrible. How do you guys even walk after the game? And I said, lacrosse is a bumps and bruises game. It's not like football. You don't have all that head-on-head constant contact. It's a bump and bruises game, bag of ice, a couple Advil, and these kids are young. They're fine.
If it were you and I out there, we might have a little more of an issue, but these guys are okay and they can bounce back quicker.
Yeah.
So, again, we're just about ready to play here and move on into the second half of action. As again, if you're just tuning in, the score at halftime, Seattle Prep 5, Sammamish Newport 1. Prep getting on the board early, scoring the first goal. Newport coming back to tie it up 1-1, and it's been pretty much all Seattle Prep since then. Shutting Sammamish Newport out after that, and again, they're going to take a fairly comfortable lead into the second quarter. However, there's still a lot of action to go here, and anything can happen in the second half of play.
Yeah, 4-goal lead's nothing in lacrosse. So that your ability to score a goal, win the faceoff, score a goal, win the faceoff, take a shot, back it up, keep the ball. 4-goal lead. No coach is happy about a 4-goal lead unless there's about 7 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of you coaches over time, and you guys, until that final bell usually rings or the horn goes off or whatever it might be, you're never satisfied, right?
Lacrosse is a nerve-wracking game just because you can score so quickly. No lead ever seems to be safe.
Prep coming back onto the field as they appear to be ready. Ian Lee still huddling with his team over on their sideline. We'll see what Coach Lee and the rest of the Sammamish Newport players can get going here in the second half. See Sam Koff out there once again, ready for the face-off, and I'm assuming we're probably going to see Riley Morgan out there, or Martin again. So we wait to see Sammamish come out onto the field here, and sure enough, it is Riley Martin, so familiar face-off with those two going at it again.
Yeah, I think Martin, he's licking his wounds a little bit. He's been beat most of the time on face-off. So, the face-offs is a cat and mouse game. I'd imagine Martin thinking, what can I do to beat Koff? And there's all kinds of counters to every move you make. Koff looks like just a clamper guy. He's just going to try to outpower you and control the ball and bring it to himself. Now, you notice we're not going to have a face-off because, again, Murphy made the save with possession. It doesn't matter if you're man up or man down. If you have possession of the ball when the whistle blows at the end of the quarter, you get to keep it.
Stand corrected. Penalty. Settle from the start, man down with possession.
Should mention that after the game, we are going to try to have a player of the game come up for a post-game interview. That will be brought to you by the Washington State High School Lacrosse chapter. And so far, we've got a few candidates for that award, and certainly they're all wearing blue. We'll see how that plays out here. And but as you mentioned earlier, Coach, no lead is safe, and certainly not a 4-point lead. And we'll see what happens here in the third quarter.
We got a little delay in the start here, and Coach Lee's got to go back to his rule book, and he's trying to confirm with the referees that they're making the right call. They are making the right call. It doesn't matter through halftime, through the quarter, when you're even at the end of the game. If you have possession of the ball in a man-up, man-down situation, you keep it.
And we finally got that one resolved, and as you mentioned, it was the right call, and Sam Koff holding on to the ball, and we are underway here in the third quarter. Koff being guarded by Martin as well as number 18, Ian Nelson.
Oh, there you go. Connor Dennehy's back in, so he got the clearance.
Good to see that. We were a little bit worried there when we started off a game with an injury, and it's good to see Dennehy back out there and gets the ball knocked away from him, and Sammamish with their first possession here of the second half.
Yeah, fabulous takeaway by Ian Nelson.
And there's a shot on goal. Nice save again by Jack Murphy. It's number 6 on the shot there, John Montaigne. Murphy continuing to have a nice game.
Yeah, he is keeping Seattle Prep in the game. There's no doubt about that.
And here we go again as Perry Stout taking it in the clear, gets it all the way down onto the Prep side of the field here as they are working the ball around right now. Prep working the ball around. Sam Koff with the ball again. What's up on top? Koff being checked by number 10, Michael Calaboso. Coming around the other side of the goal. Finally flings the pass back out to his teammate, number 9. Shot on goal. That was number 14, George Anderson. Anderson still looking for his first goal of the season. I understand we've got a halftime score. Fairly big game there as well, right?
Huge game. We got Bellevue up 5-2 at Bainbridge. I mean, talking about two state powerhouses playing on the first eligible game day of the season to play a game.
Doesn't get much bigger than that.
And I said Bellevue's the team to beat. Defending state champions. That's who everybody's gunning for, and I think they deservedly are the champion. Deservedly.
And Bainbridge with a nice, long, storied history of lacrosse in the state as well.
Bainbridge was the first one to really run a program from, the kindergartners on up through the high school.
Mm-hmm.
They were the first one to run it that way, and they were dominant in their time, but other teams have copied what they've done and been able to beat them in the last 10 years.
So Prep still working the ball around here as we are, again, in the third quarter of play. Prep holding on to that 5-1 lead. Now, if you're Sammamish right now and you're down by 4, what is your thinking? What is your mindset on the defensive side of things right now? Are you content letting this clock go down like this, or are you You going to try to make a move here in a second to get this ball back? What are you thinking as a coach?
And you're seeing it right here. We got to play a little bit more pressure defense. We just can't let Seattle Prep just whine and grind us down. You know, Seattle Prep is controlling the tempo of this game. So how do you change it? You either change it when you got the ball or you change it on defense, like right there, doing some double teams.
Koff getting doubled and even triple teamed there at times. Keeps the ball, finally throws it back out to Anderson.
Now, if you look at the referees, they're going to start looking at each other. Lacrosse has a stall. You know, you have to attack the goal, much like basketball with a 5-second count.
Riggins taking it in. There is a flag down on the field. Throws it back on top to Koff. Looks in Anderson's direction. Hasn't passed it yet. Thinks about a shot. Takes one. Sails wide.
What you're going to do is you're going to get Calaboso with a cross check. And if you saw it, it slid up on his shoulder and it went up onto his neck. And that's that point of emphasis. You got to stay off the head. If you look at it on the film, you replay it on the YouTube broadcast, you can say, oh, that wasn't much. But that's the point of emphasis. You got to stay off the head.
And Calaboso, again, the midfielder, the junior midfielder, wearing number 10 for Sammamish Newport. That will give a power play to Seattle Prep.
1 minute.
And that's the kind of penalty that the coaches are just going to have to work out with the officials. Because, you know, the officials have an edict. They've been told. It's, you know, not their decision. They've been told this is what you're going to call.
Stout with the ball once again. We've seen that he's not afraid to get physical. He does pass the ball off. Stout takes a shot. Nice save there by Morgan White. It's number 12, Sam Koff, hustling over to get the ball, keeping the possession for Seattle Prep. George Anderson getting the ball back up on top to Justin Riggins once again. Dennehy still seeing action here in the second half after missing most of the first half. Gets the ball into Koff, he shoots, he scores! Sam Kopp, who got us started with the first goal of the game, gets his second, and lo and behold, Dennehy with an assist.
Right, so Dennehy proved to the coach he's okay to play. What I'm impressed by there, Koff caught the ball in traffic, right on top of the crease. You're going to get chopped up. You're going to get hacked up. He was able to, you know, maintain his focus, control it, and then put it home. That's a tough goal. Tough goal.
Tough goal, and that gives Prep a 6-1 lead here in the third quarter. Koff and Martin once again ready for the face-off. Starting to notice it's getting a little bit colder out here too, as we can see the players and the referees, the breath from the chilly night coming into the air there. Is that we didn't see that in the first half, and
I think that's another reason, just to make sure you keep your bench in. You keep rotating guys in. Don't want to get cold and have them pull muscle.
No, definitely do not, especially at this early stage in the season, and seeing a lot of that rotation going on right now from both teams. Kopp throwing the ball up on top. That's Dennehy. Swinging the ball around. 22, Connor Gossman, the sophomore. It's Perry Stout with the ball. Dennehy. Nice spin move. Gets near the crease. Takes a shot. Just a little bit wide of the goal. Nice move by Dennehy.
Yeah, good move by Dennehy. And you see Sammamish, Newport, they're trying to take a few chances on defense now. They're getting a little impatient, and they do. They need to be impatient. They need to get the ball back.
We're now seeing Elijah Wilgus back in the game again. Wilgus having a nice first half. Perry Stout once again with the ball, being guarded very closely by number 11, Cooper Oswald, sophomore defender. Had Wilgus thinking about a shot there, finally pulls back. Tossed it over to Riggins, back to Wilgus as they play a little catch with one another here. And again, if you're Sammamish Newport, you're trailing by 5 right now. You better figure out what you're going to do here pretty quickly, as Seattle Prep seems very content to let this clock wind down a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to get a stall warning here.
Nice screen there from number 8. That was Wilgus.
Oh, a little too nice.
A little too nice, apparently, as they're going to say. Can't quite do that in Sammamish Newport with the ball. What did you see there on that screen, Coach? Was that a little bit of a...
Yeah, he might have leaned a little bit. Officials love to call that offside screen. Shows everybody they're paying attention. They're not just looking at the ball; they're looking at the players off the ball too.
Keeps everybody on their toes. And Sammamish Newport now with the ball, once again trailing 6-1 here in the third quarter of play. That's number 5, Ricky Adams, on the far side of the field. Swings it back around to Sternberg, who gets it back out in front here. Sternberg, who, as we've mentioned a few times, 29 goals last year. Still waiting to see him get going. Comes back around in the front, swings it over to Weiss. Nice shot on goal by number 22, Yannick White, but once again, Jack Murphy with a save. And here comes Seattle Prep, Justin Riggins. So we get a whistle there, and apparently a timeout has been called.
Yep, looks like Seattle Prep called a timeout.
By Seattle Prep.
Well, Sammamish Newport was doing the right thing there. They're running things, through Sternberg, and then they're beginning to attack the backside. And the backside is getting the ball across the face or the backside of the goal to the other side of the field. They got a good shot, but holy cow, who's this Murphy kid? Comes up with another great save. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. Coach is over there talking to him right now, pumping him up. That's going to be the key to their success right there. They got good patience. You got a good goaltender. You can be successful.
And when you're coming off a 13-2 season, a season in which you returned a lot of your key players from last year, really just when you look at it on paper, the primary position they needed to fill was the goalkeeper. Jack Murphy stepping it up big tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed. He's seen some quality rubber, and he's making the saves. Got good, quick hands.
Hey, Wrecking Ball Demolition is a proud sponsor of the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week. Wrecking Ball Demolition offers full building demolitions, neater, cleaner, faster. Wrecking Ball Demolition, demolition with a difference. To learn more, visit wreckingballdemolition.com or call 425-339-3111. I want to remind you also that the Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week is produced in cooperation with U.S. Lacrosse Washington State Chapter, Washington High School Boys Lacrosse Association, and the Washington Schoolgirls Lacrosse Association. Production services provided by the Mount Lake Terrace High School Hawks Broadcasting Network. Special thanks to Mike McQuaid, Sports Information Director with U.S. Lacrosse Washington State Chapter, Newport High School Athletic Director James Gill, and tonight's coaches, Ian Lee from Newport Sammamish rather, and Rick Schwartz from Seattle Prep. And we are back to live action here in the third quarter of play. Seattle Prep holding on to that 6-1 lead. They are wearing the road blue. And that is number 5, Connor Dennehy with the ball. Nice spin move by Dennehy. Gets back out in front. Gets it to George Anderson. He's going to take a shot. Save by Morgan White. George Anderson still looking for his first goal of the season. Sammamish coming down on the other end. There's Sternberg with it once again. Being guarded again very closely by Josh Campbell, something we've seen all night. Puts a nice move on him. Tries to shoot takes a bounce shot in there. Does not quite get what he wants from it.
Yep, they do the slash, though.
And that is going to be called on number 23, Clayton Comiskey, the junior midfielder.
I talked earlier about that attackman taking the slash 55 yards away from the goal. I don't mind as a coach taking the slash right in front of the goal. That's okay. Most important thing is to make sure he doesn't get a quality shot off.
1 minute man up,
And it looked like Sternberg had put himself in a position to possibly get a pretty nice shot off there. So it's again, that's if you're going to have if you're going to get a foul, that's not a bad one to have right there.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Sternberg. He's got quick feet.
So number 9 with the ball, Riley Martin swings it back over to Weiss. Number 15. Now have Ricky Adams behind the goal. Weiss has it. It gets away from him real briefly. Sammamish looking for their first power play goal of the night, and that one gets away. Battle for the ball here right now, and finally Ian Weiss coming up with it. Sammamish maintaining possession. That minute is ticking down pretty quickly, though, so let's see if Sammamish can get something off. Weiss takes a shot wide right, however, Ricky Adams there to back it up, maintaining possession for Sammamish Newport. Weiss, and there's Sternberg right there. Gets it back to Riley Martin. Ball is loose. There's still a scramble for it here. Let's see who's going to come up with it. Weiss trying to get it there. Would have had a nice shot if he could have come up with it. However, it bounces up, and Jack Murphy, the goalie, able to grab it. Ball gets loose. Sternberg with the ball once again. He's going to run towards the goal. Pulls up near the crease, gets triple teamed. Nice hustle there by Sternberg. Finally loses the ball, and what do we have here, Coach?
Looks like a loose ball push on blue, or blue hold they call that, and we'll take it Sammamish ball and loose ball. You know, Murphy's making the saves, but there you can see the fact that he's new to this. You know, a pretty soft outlet pass. He just needs to be a little bit patient on his clears. He'll help himself out.
So again, Sammamish Newport setting it up here up on top. Ian Weiss with the ball. So we look to see where. Just looking for Sternberg there for a moment. It looks like he's actually on the bench taking a little bit of a breather. So looking for his first goal. Ball sails on Weiss, however.
You know, one thing that I think is a little hindrance to Sammamish Newport is the fact that Cooper Horton's out. You need a little nagging injury, had to miss a couple practices. I think that might be interrupting with their offense and their plans and what they want to do. He was a pretty good scorer last year. I think he takes some of the pressure off of Sternberg.
Yeah, Horton with 28 goals last year was third on the team in points, and certainly that's it's not a player you want to have out if you're trying to compete against a team like Prep.
Nothing serious. He just needs a couple more practices under his belt.
So as Prep continues to swing the ball around here. Anderson with the ball right now. It's Riggins behind the goal, being guarded very closely by Cooper Oswald once again. So we are still in the third quarter of play. Seattle Prep 6, Sammamish Newport 1. First game of the year for both teams.
Nah, I disagree with that call right there. Now, I'm not going to get on the officials. It's a tough game, one of the toughest games to officiate. But right there, that was right in front of us here, Steve. We're looking right at it. That was a good pick. He set the pick. He was rolling to the goal. Got to allow him to do that.
Sammamish back on the possession once again is number 11, Cooper Oswald with the ball. Swings it back over to his goalie. Tries to swing it past to Weiss. Gets away from him. However, number 17, Dalton Volner, had the ball and couldn't quite hold on to it.
Yeah, I can understand Coach Lee being frustrated. You know, to score, you got to have the ball, and if you keep continually throwing it away like that, right now Seattle Prep's won the quarter 1-0. When you're down by 4 or 5 goals, what's the message to your team? Let's win the quarter. Well, they're not even going to win the third quarter here.
And not only that, but last time I checked, if you're going to average 1/3 of a goal per quarter, and you've only got 1 quarter left, you're down by 5. That doesn't bode too well.
It does not.
Stout trying to power through a few different players. We've got a little bit of a fight going on here now as Stout getting into it with a couple of the Sammamish guys. Cooler heads prevail, and we're back to playing lacrosse again.
Yeah, that's a good whistle by Andy Asante over there, the far referee. Let's just calm everybody down. No change of possession, a little loose ball push. Get everybody calmed down.
You know, as a coach, when your team's struggling a little bit, do you like to see a little bit of fight in the team there in terms of just trying to show their frustration and show that they're still out there battling?
Now, long as we maintain our sportsmanship.
Sure. That was a shot by Ricky Adams there on goal.
Ricky Adams on the shot.
I'm trying to just see the signal here for what the penalty is.
As we still await to see what's going on here. Josh Campbell apparently picking up the penalty with a slash.
Yeah, having your best defender out on a slash, that's always going to be a tough call now for the Seattle Prep man-down defense. I also noticed that Perry Stout, the coach is taking him out to cool him off a little bit. Doesn't need to be that fired up this early in the season. He is a big kid, though. Look at him over there.
He's a big kid, and he's not afraid to get physical out there. And he's been a lot of fun to watch here in this the first game of the year for us.
Sure has. It's a nice square jaw, like those kids.
Got a whole family full of Stouts here. As Riley Stout was their leading goaltender last year, and I'm noticing that Nolan Stout is also on the roster, a sophomore.
Yeah, and you see that in lacrosse. Sisters encourage sisters, brothers encourage brothers and sisters playing. It's a real family sport, that's for sure.
Ball gets away once again, and as you mentioned earlier, Sammamish just not a real crisp passing game here tonight thus far. Got a scramble for the ball as Sammamish finally comes up with it.
Now, you got to say that really Sammamish, Newport, they're being their own worst enemy. Just too many mistakes. That's something that Coach Lee's got a little work to do this weekend, breaking down that film. I'm sure they'll be watching it on Saturday or early Monday before practice and working out some of this. And that's why you play this game. This is really the reason you play a game like this. Learn from it.
We've got a little bit of a conference going on over here at the scorers table.
I don't know if it bodes a lot of confidence when the timer's got a clock in both hands and he's looking at both of them and shaking his hands or his head.
I was noticing he had something in the right and the left hand. I thought, is he holding up his cell phone here? Or is he making a?
Yeah, he's got a couple clocks over there.
As this third quarter seems to be lingering on and on, I've got to think we're getting pretty darn close to the end of it here. And again, a quarter that hasn't seen a lot of scoring. It's been only one goal for Seattle Prep, and that's been it as they hold on to a 6-1 lead here.
I think ultimately the question is how much more time does Josh Campbell have in the box? So I think one clock in his hand is for the penalty time, one is for the game clock.
And the two might be fairly close at this point. So I think we've got to be getting a little bit close there. Once again, Prep coming down here. That's Kopp with the ball. Loses it. It goes right into the goaltender. That was Morgan White once again. Gets it over to Riley Morgan. Here comes Sammamish. Nice pass. Sternberg had it for a quick second, then lost it. Nice check by Sternberg. The ball is loose. However, Prep able to come up with it. Handful of loose balls here. And finally, number 20, Will Schober is going to come away with the ball. A lot of good intensity here, Coach.
I think that was a quarter, Steve.
There's
something going on here.
A little bit of a half horn there. That is, in fact, the end of the third quarter of play with your score, Seattle Prep 6, Sammamish Newport 1. I'd like to invite you to advertise your business on the Lacrosse Network. Washington High School Game of the Week. Game of the Week broadcasts feature some of the best high school lacrosse matchups in Washington State and are streamed live online to anyone with an internet connection. Reach thousands of dedicated Washington Prep lacrosse fans with your advertising message and support high school lacrosse. To learn more, call Teresa at 425-772-3056. Again, not only a great way to advertise your company, but to support this this growing sport and to help us get the word out so we can continue to do these broadcasts and hopefully bring you more and more games as we progress here.
Yeah, it's a great community, the lacrosse community. It supports the game, and part of the way to doing it is supporting what's going on here.
Sure.
So the more people, more eyes on the game, the more opportunity you have to grow the sport, to get some financing, to get recognition. We send several kids get national recognition as being members from U.S. Lacrosse, the governing body of lacrosse. Lots of national award winners, All-Americans, All-States. So, the more you can be seen. And some of these kids would like to be recruited. And part of recruiting is coaches want to see you play. And they want to see who you're playing against. Mm-hmm. So this is an opportunity to build up your game film and to show off what you got.
And for you Hall of Fame members, you being one of them, it's hopefully we can add some wings and get some more players and coaches and other folks involved with that and continue to grow that as well, right?
Yeah, we have our third class coming up. We're going to start that process this year, and the third class will be announced, I think, in late summer, early fall. We're getting to the point now where hopefully this class will be a lot more of the pioneer players. Where a lot of us were just kind of did everything, but we're about that era now where with the Hall of Fame rules, you have to be out of the sport for a certain amount of time, and there's some outstanding players that played throughout the 80s that didn't get a lot of recognition just because the game was so new, and I'd like to see some of those guys make it into the Hall of Fame.
So we are just about ready to start the fourth quarter of play. Seattle Prep 6, Sammamish Newport 1. If you are Ian Lee and you're trailing by 5, it's a non-conference game. At what point do you start to look at this more as okay, we just need to start, rather than trying to get a victory here, we need to start working on some things to get ready for league play? Is that even a thought at this point, or are we still at the point in the game where, no, your primary focus has to be to win?
Yeah, no, I want to win. And it's all going to start with the face-off, and I think that's one thing if you're going through your checklist of what's going on here. Seattle Prep still ahead, 6-3 on face-offs, and you can't score if you don't have the ball. You got to win some face-offs here. So really like to see, it's Riley Martin, see if he can come up with one here, and he needs some help from his wing guys too. It's not just him.
So let's see if Martin can win one here. Players are set, and here we go. Once again, Sam Koff coming up with it. Not the way they wanted to start the fourth period.
No, Koff is just strong and quick. He's just beating him to the clamp.
Koff slowing it down right away. Wilgus checking back in. Koff's going to take a breather. Prep continuing to work the ball around. Riggins with the ball behind the goal right now. George Anderson with the ball. Let's see if he's going to take a shot here and try to get on the board. Nice spin move. Throws it over to Riggins. Back to Anderson. Gets it back up on top. And once again, we've got Perry Stout back in there.
Yeah, Coach got him cooled off.
Stout content just to pass that one off this time. And he's going to have the ball back up on top again. Connor Dennehy holding it right now is Riley Martin playing about 10 yards off of him. And he's going to get a nice little run going here. Still being guarded by Martin. Finally throws it over to number 22, Gossman. We've got a penalty down. Whoa, and what do we have there? Riley Martin and Dennehy getting caught up together.
Yeah, Martin was sitting on him 40 yards from the ball.
Apparently that's not welcome. As number 8, Wilgus taking a shot. It goes wide left.
From best I can tell is that Donahue, I think, tripped, and then Martin fell on him, but instead of getting off right away, he kind of laid on him.
Just stayed there for a minute, huh?
So I think you're going to call him for a hold.
So Martin is, in fact, heading to the penalty box. 30-second technical being called on Martin. So again, Prep with a 6-1 lead and maintaining possession here on the power play.
Every time Preps run their man up, they just run a simple wheel play. They're not showing anybody anything on that, but it's a very effective man up. It's kind of the Vince Lombardi of man up plays. We're going to run the sweep. We're going to run the sweep, and we're going to run it successfully. It's just one of the Lacrosse 101 for man up plays.
Anderson throwing it back to Koff. Gets it back on top. Riggins with a shot. Nice save there as Riggins took a shot from about 16 yards away, and he goes down holding on to his apparently leg of some sort. We're hoping that's not a knee injury.
Looking at that from the way he shot that, and again on a cold night, I think he might have pulled his calf or gotten a cramp. You really stretch your legs out on that shot. And actually not a very wise shot, man up, taking a 15, 16-yard shot, and the goalie's got a good look at it.
Yeah, and judging by the way they're looking at him right now, I'm guessing that might be a cramp. And
yeah,
cramp is definitely the better of the two alternatives when you're looking at your knee area.
No, they didn't have a chance to work their man up. That's just taking too quick a shot. You got the 5-goal lead. You're man up. It's only a 30-second man up, but let's take 25 seconds off the clock and then take a shot and just keep possession.
So as they continue to tend to Riggins here, is again stretching out that leg. Those cramps are never any fun, and seem to be something we see early in a lot of these sports outdoors in the early part of a season.
Yeah, you brought up conditioning, and that's part of it too. These kids are fired up, and Yeah, it's one thing to run hard at practice, but you never can run as hard as practice as you do in the game.
Sure.
So your muscles just aren't ready for it. And these guys are going to be playing 2-3 games a week, so getting in game shape. We talk about that. I don't think you really get in game shape until the end of March, beginning of April.
And Riggins is up and running off the field on his own, which is a good sign. And I should mention Think Fit. Sticks to Schools is the youth fitness program of the Washington Stealth. With Sticks to Schools, Stealth players encourage fitness and healthy lifestyles by introducing lacrosse to your school or youth group. To bring Sticks to Schools to your school or youth group, or learn how your business can support this initiative program, visit Sticks2, that's the number 2, Sticks2Schools.com. Sammamish with the ball there as Martin takes a little bit of a tumble. Number 5, Ricky Adams coming up with it, being guarded by Stout. Sammamish swings the ball back around. Weiss now holding on to it. Swings it over to number 9, Riley Martin. And if nothing else, if you're Sammamish, you'd love to see a goal here, as you have not scored one since the first quarter of play. Be nice to take something away from this game and get a little momentum, if you will, going into next week, or confidence at the very least.
You bring that up, so I kind of got lulled to sleep by, again, Seattle Prep playing such patient defense. It's got to be, 24, 36, 40 minutes since Sammamish has scored. Maybe 36 minutes since they've scored.
Fairly early in that first quarter, yeah. It was
amazing.
probably about 4 minutes in and have not scored since, as we are in the fourth quarter of play right now.
Amazing job by the goaltender Murphy, of course, and the defense is playing patient.
And as you mentioned, Josh Campbell, number 2, really doing a nice job of taking Sean Sternberg out of this game and holding him scoreless tonight.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Koff having such a great game at faceoff right now, certainly the player of the game might be number 2 back there with the long pole in his hand.
And that's number 22, Connor Gossman with the ball. Finally gets it over to number 12, Kopf, once again. Seem to be calling his name quite a bit tonight. He's having one heck of an evening. Anderson swings the ball over to Wilgus. Being checked by Weiss. Still holding on to the ball. Finally gets Weiss to take a tumble. Gets by him. Tries to pass it over to Stout. Can't quite come up with it.
Yeah, it was an obvious push on Sammamish Newport. Yeah, the sideline's not happy with it, but that was an obvious push.
And Dennehy with the ball, and here we come. 2 flags coming down this time. Ball sails wide left on the shot by Dennehy.
It's like Ian Weiss will go off for a slash. Yeah. Up again around the shoulders and the head. You can swing your stick around all you want, but you got to hit the other guy's stick, not his shoulders, not his head, not his ribs.
Just mention as we're looking ahead here, I know Sammamish Newport's next game will be at home Wednesday, 8 p.m. start against Snohomish. So they're right back to it 5 days later.
And Snohomish is a tough outfit. There's another community that's really adopted lacrosse, and they've built a tremendous youth program both for the boys and the girls, and they're tough. They're tough in both sides of the sport.
And Seattle Prep also playing on Wednesday night as they will take on Overlake. That game, a 5 p.m. start at Overlake School.
And Overlake, former champion just a few years ago, so they've had good programs.
So that's Dennehy with the ball right now as he looks to shoot. He finally takes a shot, and it is saved by Morgan White.
Shot by Connor Dennehy.
I've been impressed with Seattle Prep's lacrosse IQ other than the last couple man-ups. Not the way as a coach I'd want those run with a 4-goal lead or 5-goal lead.
And speaking of lacrosse IQs, another mistake by Sammamish Newport as that ball sails out of bounds.
I think the sloppiness is just starting to show itself. It was actually a pretty clean game for the first couple quarters, but now with it's early in the year, you're seeing a little bit of sloppiness come out.
And really, Sammamish was getting away some shots early on in the game. Just Jack Murphy was coming up with some nice saves. Murphy not having to work too hard in the second half.
That's a clear by Sam Koff.
Seems as though every time Sammamish has the ball, it's quickly going back over to the blue. Got number 9 right now. That's Riggins behind the goal. Getting it back out up on top to Koff. Clock continues to roll here. Again, the clock is being kept on the field. We don't have an official clock up here in the booth with us. Shot goes wide. However, Prep, it will maintain the ball. Willigus holding it up on top. Finally swings it back over to Sam Kopf. Anderson getting it back behind the goal, once again to Riggins. Riggins, number 9, being guarded by Cooper Oswald. Number 11, the sophomore defender.
Yeah, you know, if I'm the Sammamish Newport coaches, I'm going to start calling for a stall right now. Next time that ball goes behind the goal without a shot, there should be a stall warning.
And one way to avoid that is to just take the ball away, and that's what Sammamish does there, as Oswald does come up with it. Swings it over George Anderson, almost getting a steal on that one. And once again, unforced error there as Sammamish just having trouble with the passing game today. Stout back in now as he's got the ball. Pulls it back out on top. Again, we are looking at a 6-1 game here. Seattle Prep holding on to a 5-goal lead over Sammamish Newport. Coming to you live from Newport High School. Turnover to Sammamish, as that's number 10, Michael Calaboso, coming down the field now. Crosses midfield into the box. Riley Martin trying to set something up as, again, Sammamish Newport at this point, just seeing if they can't get back on the board here and get another goal before this night comes to an end, just so they can say they didn't get shut out 3 straight quarters. Yannick White with the ball. He's going to drive, takes a shot, wide left.
Shot by Yannick White.
Oh, this is a great time to just get your offense back in order again. Get everybody calm down. That was a nice shot by Yannick. And shooting wide's all right because you're going to get it back. Let's work for another good shot.
So, again, Riley Martin going to take a look at it now. Tries to get by Stout. Finally throws the ball back to number 22, White. Throws it at his feet. He can't hold it. It's number 20, Will Schuber, coming up with the ball. However, he's not able to hold it either, and we have another possession for Sammamish Newport. Ground ball by Ricky Adams on that play. Number 5 coming up with it. Riley Martin takes another shot. Once again, wide left.
Back up, Sean Sternberg.
Stenberg was, however, backing that one up as Sammamish Newport will maintain possession. Riley Martin holding the ball up on top here. He's going up against Stout. Nice defense there as he swings the ball over to Sternberg. Shot on goal. That was number 10, Calaboso, wide right.
If you look at Sammamish Newport, every shot they take is a contested shot. Murphy's got a good look at it. This is good, solid defense. I'm impressed with the job the coaches have done on that this early in the year.
Ian Weiss coming into the game as he looks to get open. Nice shot and goal. Michael Calaboso getting Sammamish Newport on the board for the first time since early in the first quarter. Sammamish Newport cutting that Seattle Prep lead down to 6-2.
Nice shot by Calaboso. You know, nothing a right-handed goalie can do with a shot high over his left shoulder. Well-placed ball. Let's get the face-off. Let's get him out there on the field again. Let's get that shot again. See if we can't have the score right now.
So, again, time is running out here on Sammamish Newport. Going to need to get some quick goals here, and it's going to start with this face-off right here. And once again, Seattle Prep coming up with it. That's Connor Dennehy with the ball. George Anderson looking to potentially get his first shot or goal of the game. However, there is a flag down.
It's Alex Todd with a slash.
Senior defender wearing the number 3, and he's going to head on over to the penalty box for 1 minute.
Sammamish White, number 3/.
And you can see the rust of even the officials, and they're doing a fine job. They've controlled this game. They made the calls they needed to make. But in that particular case, you had the ball with possession inside the box, and it should have been a slow whistle situation where they'll throw the flag, and you can continue playing. And as long as you keep it in the box or until the ball goes down, you have a free possession.
Should take this time to mention that, again, this is the inaugural game for us on the Lacrosse Network Washington State High School Game of the Week. Next week, we will be up at Glacier Peak High School as Overlake School will take on Sammamish High School in a girls matchup. Again, that will be at 8 p.m. next Friday night on March 15th. If you'd like, you can take a look at the entire schedule by going to WashingtonHSLAX.com. Click the press release that came out yesterday. It gives you a little more of an overview as to what we're doing here this year and how we're going to be broadcasting these games, and complete with a schedule for all 10 weeks. So to find out if your team is one of the teams that will be playing on this network, please feel free to check that out. Again, that's WashingtonHSLAX.com.
I'd really encourage you. You're tuning in to watch a boys' game. Really encourage you to give the girls' game a shot. My daughters are playing now, and it's a wonderful game of lacrosse. Completely different from the boys' game, but it's beautiful in its own right.
And as you mentioned, it's increasing in huge numbers as well, and we're up to 40 teams right now.
Yeah, I think there are around 40 high school teams. Middle school teams are exploding. I know the particular middle school program I'm involved with. We've got a second grade team, 2, 3, 4 teams, 2, 5, 6 teams, and a team and a half at 7, 8.
Good to get them going early, right?
Yep.
Teaching them the fundamentals, and hopefully it makes for better lacrosse as they get up to the high school level here. And certainly, as you mentioned, we're seeing better play all the time. So again, we are back to action here. Seattle Prep holding on to that 6-2 lead, fourth quarter of play. So we've got to be getting pretty late in this ball game here, and not sure exactly how much time is left, but it's not a lot. And Sammamish Newport, if they're going to do something, they better do it pretty quickly. Or at the very least, they wouldn't mind getting another goal or two here, just to making it look a little more respectable and being able to take some momentum into that matchup next week against Sammamish. Riggins with the ball, throws it back over to Dennehy. Floats it over to Stout. Connor Gossman with the ball. Prep certainly in no rush right now, as they do hold that 4-goal lead. Continuing to play a little catch here as they are on the power play. Stout holding the ball once again as, again, right now it just kind of continues to be a little bit of a game of catch as Prep was finally getting ready to make a move there. Anderson with a check. The ball is still loose on the ground as we wait to see who comes up with it. Out of bounds, and they are going to give the ball to Seattle Prep.
Looks like Seattle Prep's is looking to wind the game down. They weren't even looking to attack the goal on their man up here. Which I don't blame them. Don't get anybody hurt. Don't show your opponent anything else. We've proved our point tonight. And
the power play is over as number 5, Ricky Adams, comes onto the field, taking the place of Alex Todd, who was in the box. So we're at full strength here for both teams, but again, Prep very content just to hold on to this ball. Like you said, not a time to get anybody hurt, not a time to show anybody up. You're up by 4.
Yeah, you were going to see a stall warning here next time the ball is in the box.
And we're finally back in the box now. However, still haven't seen that stall warning.
I keep seeing the signal. They need to raise their hand and call it. Can't get his partner's attention. Here, they should call it right here.
Still kind of watching the referees as we watch the ball get tossed around here by the Seattle Prep players.
They're just not taking it to the goal. They need to take it to the goal.
Anderson kicks it back out on top again.
There it is.
There we go. We finally get the warning there. And
now, a stall situation, now you have to keep it in the box. It's outlined by the blue paint just on the outside of the football numbers. The ball's got to stay in that area.
Dennehy with the ball being double-teamed. She can kind of hopefully pick up that blue line there on the video. Takes a shot, however, that one is saved by Morgan White. What have you thought about Morgan White's play tonight? He's certainly had quite a few shots taken against him.
No, he's a solid goaltender. You know, he led the league last year in number of saves. So obviously he's got good hands. I watched him warm up. He's a big kid, takes up a lot of the goal. But sometimes you see with a big goaltender, a lot of shots get into his body. No, I saw him warm up, and he takes most of his shots he's catching with his hands, that's what you want to do as a goal. You want to control those rebounds, get it in your stick. A little shaky on his clears, but he's got done a fine job making the saves he needs to.
And Connor Dennehy, number 5, getting called with a cross check there, and he's going to get a 1-minute penalty. So Sammamish now on a power play to see if they can't make this game a little bit closer and more respectable as we are fairly late in the fourth quarter here. Sammamish wearing the whites, continuing to trail Seattle Prep 6-2.
If you can get within 3, you always feel like you got a chance.
That's Sutherland with the ball. He was the one that scored the lone first half goal for Sammamish Newport. Swinging the ball back around here. Sutherland with the ball once again. Back out on top to Martin. Throws over to Weiss, who takes a shot. Sails that one left. Backed up by number 22, Yannick White. Sammamish still holding on to this possession here. Trying to get something going. Sternberg takes a shot, can't quite get it to go. However, Yannick White with the backup, gets the ball back in. Sammamish still looking for another goal here. White over to Sutherland, to Martin. Weiss once again thinking about a shot, double teamed. Back to Martin. Sutherland's going to take a shot. He scores. Stuart Sutherland with his second goal of the game. Suddenly we've got a 6-3 ball game, Tony Olney.
Well, like I said, if you can get it to 3, you feel like you got a chance. Beautiful man-up play set up again. Nice shot. Top shelf. So it looks like Murphy's good low. Now the Sammamish guys are starting to shoot high on him. So maybe they might have found a little bit of a weakness, a little chink in his armor, and we just got to win the faceoff now.
And that's been something that's been the Achilles heel of Sammamish all night, or one of them, rather. It's no longer Riley Martin in there for the faceoff. We're going to see Ian Weiss out there for the first faceoff of the night.
And he jumped a little early. A little excited. Got a little excited.
First one of the year, and decided to get a little bit of an early start there, and consequently, Sam Koff's going to have the ball here for Seattle Prep.
Looks like we're under 2 minutes, Steve, with the automatic stall warning. The team that's ahead with under 2 minutes left, automatic stall warning.
So with that 3-goal lead, if Sammamish is going to do anything, they better do it quickly here. And time is not on their side right now as Koff continues to have that ball behind the goal. Koff, as you mentioned earlier, one heck of a night tonight for that young man as he been outstanding on the face-offs and has just played an all-around good game.
A couple tallies as well.
Stout with the ball here.
That's defense, Stefan Frankie.
And a penalty. What did we get there, Coach?
Well, you know, Perry Stout, he's had a good game, but he's a fiery kid. He's just got to calm down. He spiked the ball, just like in football. For high school football, you can't spike the ball. It's an automatic delay game. And now he's tossing his stick. You know, he's got to get his head on straight. I think he's potentially a very good ball player. But with that level of frustration as a coach, even if he's a good player, I'm going to sit him down.
And I have a feeling we may not see Stout again tonight. If you're the coach, are you at this point just kind of trying to get his head straight and get him ready for the next game, or are you? Yeah,
there's a nice, pretty orange bench there. I just put him right on the bench. We've got the win. We just need to be smart, be a good sportsman, and shake their hands, get on the bus, and go home. Now, I like the way Coach Schwartz is handling this. He's not looking at him, but he's talking to him.
Yeah, you can see the words are being exchanged as he looks out towards the field and away from Stout. But he's getting his message across, isn't he?
He is.
So Sammamish here with a chance to make this game even a little more respectable. Again, they were down 6-1 just a few minutes ago and have scored the last 2 goals. A chance to cut this thing down to a 2-point game here if they can, or 2-goal game if they can get it in. And just as I say that, Another errant pass. This time, however, Sutherland's able to get it back, and Sammamish continues to maintain possession here. Shot by White. Shoots it behind the goal off to the right-hand side. Backed up by Sternberg as they will keep the ball. Martin with a shot from far out. 15-yard out. Can't get that one to go.
Yeah, good hustle by Seattle Prep backing that up and getting the ball.
And again, as we look at a 6-3 scoreboard right now, and as we saw the 2-minute mark go up a short time ago, we've got to be getting awfully late in this game as Connor Dennehy clears it and gets it up onto the prep side of the field. And there's the horn as we have come to the end of this game. Your final score tonight, Seattle Prep 6, Sammamish Newport 3, as we hope to possibly get a player of the game up here in just a moment. And see if we can't talk to one of the winning members of the Panthers.
Oh, very impressive victory by Seattle Prep. I mean, coming on the road, coming up here, playing a D1 team, ending up with a 3-goal victory. Very impressive.
And, you know, I think we're going to go ahead and hold off on that player of the game as we'll name a player of the game. We just won't get the interview as we are up in the stands here up in Newport, and it's a little bit trickier for them to get up here. So we'll hold off on that. Our player of the game tonight is
certainly Sam Koff. You know, he dominant on the faceoffs, gets a couple goals, good ground balls. Really, I think head and shoulders probably the best player in the field tonight. You saw some good play from both sides individually. Seattle Prep really well coached. I think the game plan this early on in the year and the way they play with that patience. You asked me early on about Division II. You know, Division II is always tough to predict, but with Seattle Prep, just watching them play, they're in the hunt. They're one of the top teams in Division II. I'm certain of that.
And a semifinalist last year before running into what was a really rough game apparently against Garfield as they were beat pretty soundly. But again, a 13-2 season last year, and they certainly look like they're going to be a tough team again in 2013.
Well, you always have questions coming into your game, and one question was goaltending. That seems to be answered. Another question is that some of the kids that haven't had much playing time in the past get a play. That question seems to be answered. Now it's just a matter of, was this Sammamish Newport having a bad game? How good is my team? And looking at the film, what do we need to work on? Overall, I think the key for Seattle Prep is just making sure you get a few more guys involved, because pretty soon they're just going to be looking at Koff and they're going to try to shut him down. So making sure the other guys are getting involved and they're a threat.
And if you're Sammamish Newport, you obviously recognize some of the things you have to work on. And, hey, one particular point of good news for them, in the standings, this game does not count. So they are still 0-0, and they can at least come away with that, knowing that they know what where their deficiencies are, and they can move forward.
You know, and Coach Lee talked about making some program changes. You know, he's talking about replicating what they do at Bellevue, replicating what they do at Mercer Island, and I think that's the way he's going to coach his kids. They're going to continue to coach, playing at a quick pace, and they just need to work on their fundamentals and execution. They got a good goaltender. They got good players on offense. They got a pretty stout defense. Certainly this is they've got a lot of room for improvement, but they seem to have the talent and the kids to be able to do that.
So our first game of the season is in the books. Interesting game to say the least. A 6-3 Seattle Prep victory, and Tony Olney, it's been a pleasure. And we're looking forward to continuing to work with you here this season, and can't wait to see what we've got next. So as we mentioned earlier, we will be up in Glacier Peak next week. I should say up in Snohomish at Glacier Peak High School. One more reminder, it's Overlake School at Snohomish High School. Those are the two teams playing in a girls matchup. Friday, March 15th, 8 p.m. start, and you can see that right here on the Lacrosse Network. Again, we want to encourage everybody, once you're on this channel here, subscribe to it so you can get lots of reminders as to what's going on, and follow all sorts of lacrosse on the Lacrosse Network YouTube channel. I want to thank everybody who was involved in this broadcast tonight. Angelo Camo, along with his group of students from Metlick Terrace High School, Aaron Keating. We've got Eddie Mendoza, Tony Rome, and so their names come up on the board there, as well as Mike McQuaid and Teresa Whipple, who are also up here helping us out tonight. The final score once again tonight, Seattle Prep 6, Sammamish Newport 3. The Lacrosse Network Washington High School Game of the Week is produced in cooperation with the U.S. Lacrosse Washington State Chapter, the Washington High School Boys Lacrosse Association, and Washington Schoolgirls Lacrosse Association. Special thanks to Mike McQuaid, the Sports Information Director with U.S. Lacrosse Washington State Chapter, Newport High School Athletic Director James Gill, and tonight's coaches, Ian Lee for Newport Sammamish and Rick Schwartz for Seattle Prep. Once again, for Tony Olney, I'm Steve Willits. You've been watching Washington High School Lacrosse on the Lacrosse Network. See you next week.